My name is Maralee Burnett. I am your astrologer, back with the messages for the week of October 20th, which will include a very powerful new moon in the sign of Libra, which for some of you will have some kind of a personal mission or calling that involves the relationships in your life. Now, you want to make sure you stay here till the end. At the end of the breakdown of the day by day, I will do the breakdown by sign for what you can expect and what your yod means for your sign with this new moon in the sign of Libra. Of course, you want to also make sure that you click on that subscribe button so that you are notified every time I post new content, and go out to my website, maraleeburnett.com. That way you have access to all the written content that supports these videos as well. So I do the weekly breakdown like we are now, and I do a daily breakdown as well, which is a tarot card and a little sprinkle of astrology mixed in. So again, join my website, maraleeburnett.com. You can access all of the written content, and of course these video links are there, and as well, of course, on this YouTube channel. And if you want to work with me before the end of the year, which I am starting to have very limited availability, make sure you go out there, click on that book now, and we can schedule a session for you out there as well. So with that, and since I've got a lot to cover, I'm going to jump right in as I normally do here with Monday with the Astro Gold software. And it's Monday, October 20th, where we start the week. Now, from last week, if you were following me, and if not, go back and listen to last week's video, we started talking about this pressure between Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. It is slowly moving forward. It is going to turn retrograde on 11/11. You definitely want to be reading ahead and looking at the November forecast for more details about that opportunity and that window that's opening. What's challenging this Jupiter energy in the sign of Cancer is this Chiron energy in the sign of Aries. Our emotional, personal wounds can be a health issue that you're experiencing, and then as a collective, wounds that are in some way harming our independence. Jupiter in Cancer is families that are being torn apart because of this painful experience. So this has a lot to do with immigration, and I would imagine that we will see that topic really escalate through the end of the year, because this is an ongoing square, and the T-square happens every time the sun, the moon, now Venus come through the sign of Libra and add a little pressure. So last week we saw this mountain of pressure that was with the sun. This week we'll see it with the moon. And then we'll see it again with Venus. So this pressure, the escape point is through Jupiter, and Jupiter is really large and in charge. So we're going to be talking about a grand water trine that Jupiter is a part of. We're going to be talking about this T-square. So this Jupiter energy, Jupiter expands on whatever it touches. So you will see that there have been a lot of people who are having babies this year because, of course, Cancer rules motherhood and families, caring and nurturing for other people. Food is a possibility. So all of those topics, as you have noticed this year, have been really big. And there can be conflicts with providing food to people who need it, that are in pain and suffering. So that conflict is continuing, and we see it stronger as the planets make an exact connection, and they're close. We have 24 degrees, 21 minutes of Jupiter, and we have 44 minutes of Chiron. So the more exact the planets get, the more noticeable the energy is. But this conflict is brewing. It's continuing for some time through the end of the year, typically, is what I've been expressing. So we'll have some minor breaks, but the intensity is going to stay with us. So that is how we kick off Monday, is seeing that tension still be in place. Also on Monday, we saw this last week too, this collaboration between Mars in Scorpio and Mercury in Scorpio. And now Mercury's going to start moving along here quicker, making some space, but Mercury's also going to have a retrograde. And so we're about in pre-shadow phase, and the things that we're uncovering and discovering now are going to be up for review. So as Mercury speaks with Mars, this is empowering our mind. It's empowering our voice. They've been speaking in harmony with the nodes of fate and destiny. So the action that you take, what you're called to take, is purposeful. Speaking up is purposeful at this time as well. And so again, the conversation continues today. So just always remember, you don't have to yell to be heard. Mars is very powerful in its home away from home sign, which is Scorpio, also known as a ruler of Scorpio as well as Aries. So there is this ability to bring information up, to release information, maybe to release some people, and it won't be pretty because, of course, Scorpio also rules sex. So we'll see what happens with the two people that supposedly are asking for pardons. And it will definitely cause a lot of chaos if that were to happen. So we shall see what secrets get exposed as a result of these two having conversation on Monday. Then we're going to move to Tuesday, and this is the big new moon in the sign of Libra, where the sun and moon are coming together at 28 degrees, and what they are doing is forming a yod. So every new moon, right, we get a reset, and that reset, that opportunity to set new intentions, has to do with the sign where this happens. Then you layer in the house that it happens in to get the full picture. So for this chart, for example, this is a new moon in Libra, relationships, justice, balance, and it's in this person's first house. So this is how people relate to you, because the first house is how you present yourself to other people. And Libra, of course, is somebody who is attractive, somebody who is fair, somebody is a huge people pleaser. And so you could decide to go through somewhat of a reset and rebalance your relationships and stop giving or over giving, because Libras love to do that, and decide to actually take care of yourself. Venus, the ruler of the new moon, is in the sign of Libra as well. This is beauty. So this is somebody who could go through a beauty makeover. However, because this is part of a yod, and that means there's unexpected difficulties, I do not recommend any beauty treatments around this time because they will not turn out as expected. So the yod is created by two planets sextile to one another, which is Uranus, surprise, in the sign of Gemini, and Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries. And it's also just getting ready to go back into its home sign. So the Neptune energy is really intense. This dream, these delusions you have about yourself, something's going to shock you. Information that shocks you is what creates a change in the goals for the relationship that you're already in, the goals for your business relationships, the goals for your commitments. This new beginning happens in an uncomfortable, awkward way, but the way that you deal with it is through Neptune, your dreams, Uranus, information. So it's about speaking up. It's about breaking free from ways of thinking that do not serve you. And if you've been in a relationship where you're being lied to, secrets are being kept from you, then this energy is going to wake you up from a dream state so that you can face reality and see your relationship for what it truly is. And if you don't like it, then you're going to start a new one. Any new relationships that start with this energy only start because they're fated and meant to be, because a yod is the finger of God pointing at you. So if you have energy at 28 degrees of Libra and you're about to start a relationship or you're already in one, then there is something that is calling to you and making itself known about what you have to change in order to rebalance the relationship, maybe to start over or maybe to start a new one. And fate would bring that person to you, but know that they are a lesson. There is work to do because of whoever you would meet at this time. And it is not easy work. A yod is not easy work. It's very intense. It's very uncomfortable. It is very rewarding, but you just have to be aware that Uranus makes it difficult for you to understand each other. And conversations can get a little erratic and wild and crazy. So one of the lessons in your relationships is how to do a better job of communicating with one another. And then Neptune, not giving up on your dreams just so you can be in a relationship. So reevaluating your dreams, not wearing rose-colored glasses just to be in a relationship. Having those rose-colored glasses torn off your face so that you see the relationship for what it truly is. Whatever the lesson is, it has something to do with, of course, where this is happening in your chart and how it's fated to be for you. So that's a pretty intense energy. Now, add to that the fact that the sun and the moon are part of this T-square that we were talking about last week too, with Jupiter and Chiron. While the sun has already been a part of it, now the moon is joining in, and there is something about partnerships and relationships that are adding to this conflict, to this tension. And it's been with us for the last several days as both the moon hit that 24 degrees, which is this day, and the sun a few days ago. So this isn't brand new, but there's something that is going to start new, some new partnership that is created that helps resolve some of this conflict. And maybe it's this peace agreement that allows there to be food given to the people who are suffering and medicine and all the things that they need to heal. So it can be a surprising relationship and partnership that allows this healing to happen as well. So for the collective experience, it looks very intriguing. And at the same time, we still have Mars and Mercury are still in contact, still speaking closely. This is what maybe empowers the conversation and the agreement to happen. And this is something that we'll be watching all week, is the beginning of this grand water trine between Jupiter and Saturn. So here again, two big powerful planets and energies and leaders that are coming together and having conversations that may have something to do with war and how to create opportunity out of the conflict that's been going on. So once people in a position of power and money realize that there's more opportunity ahead by ending the conflict, that's when the conflict will end. But as long as there's money to be made from the fight will go on. So it's a very intense energy at this time. We still have the minor triangle. Keep in mind now Pluto's moving forward, so it's starting to gain a little bit of momentum, but it's still mostly churning, getting ready to change direction, and quietly giving power to the people. to resolve some of this craziness and conflict. So keep in mind, Pluto is fueling up Uranus and Neptune as they speak very uncomfortably in this relationship, in this partnership. So it is going to be a very interesting time to watch. And like I said, if you're starting a relationship and you have planets here, you have some serious work to do. And if you need help, you know where to find me. So that is Tuesday. And as I mentioned, we'll do the breakdown by sign at the end of this video. So let's just quickly move through the rest of the days here. So we get to Wednesday, and here's where the yod continues to get more intense. The moon moves through here, and the sun is now at the last degree of Libra. So anytime we have planets at 29 degrees, it's a test. So there's a relationship that's tested. There's justice that's tested. There could be something going on with the Supreme Court. There could be something going on between Congress and the budget here in the United States, where things are not working well. We add to that, Neptune goes back into its home sign. So now this yod changes its perspective a bit. It moves away from the individual goals. And in Pisces, this is about bringing something to an end. This is about creating healthy boundaries. So you were hurt, Aries, because of the lack of boundaries. Now, as Neptune comes back into Pisces with Saturn, this is the work that's being done on those boundaries. Now, they may be literal for countries' boundaries. They may be your personal boundaries. These are emotional boundaries of some kind. And those boundaries make this relationship work very difficult because the person here, Sun in Libra, doesn't like there to be boundaries or there to be restrictions. They want to be the one that shines in the relationship and make it all about themselves. But there are challenges to that way of thinking, and we may see that in a very big way on Wednesday. So it is being set up at the time of this new moon, and it continues to grow and escalate. And then we will see another shift as we get the sun moving into the sign of Scorpio. So on Thursday, the yod's still active. So this isn't like a mission that's one and done. This is literally like a Mission Impossible movie that seems like it goes on forever and ever and ever. And you can't possibly get out of that big disastrous situation. And yet you can, because when the sun goes into the sign of Scorpio, everything's about to be illuminated. So we had Mercury here just a few weeks ago, and Mercury had gained some secret information. Now the sun comes through and it's about to expose whatever secret deals were being done. So everybody can now become aware. And because of this awareness, this is when the rebirth, the transformation begins to happen. And of course, while Mercury can hide in the dark, so can Mars. But when the sun comes to the underworld and lights the underworld up, well, all the creepy crawlies are coming out of the woodwork. So for the next 3 weeks, we will see some things exposed that will probably shock us, because that's the help of Uranus in the sign of Gemini, is information, conversation, and it's unexpected and it's shocking and surprising. And again, if you have 0-degree planets, especially in Scorpio, this mission continues but changes. Now, the finger of God pointing at you is saying, in order to succeed, you have to take this information, you have to trust your intuition, and you have to tear everything down that is not working and rebuild it back better and you have the next month to do that work. And trust me, as we go to that crazy new moon, Mercury Cazimi retrograde, that's when your minds will be blown by everything that is about to change. So we're going to, again, see something, be enlightened, become aware of secret deals, secret information, and it is going to cause quite a bit of chaos as we get to Thursday, October 23rd. And again, pay attention to this day in particular, because there is something important that we will see that's going to tie into the new moon in the sign of Scorpio next month. So start taking notes. What information is coming up? And today, trust your intuition and don't doubt anything that is coming up as such a strong feeling, something that you need to change or take action on. Because here we have the moon in between Mars in Scorpio and Mercury in Scorpio. So when your intuition and your mind are on the same page and your motivation, Mars, there's action that you need to take. And these, of course, all three are speaking in harmony with Jupiter. So even though there's this stress and this chaos, out of the tension, the craziness, there is some huge opportunity available as well. And Saturn in Pisces, again, that's the one that's holding everything together, keeping those emotions under control, giving you the guiding properties of what you have to do in order to succeed. But this opportunity, it's not just one and done. It's going on for some time because of the fact that Saturn's retrograde, Jupiter's still moving forward, but it will retrograde. So it's talking with Saturn for months now. And as all of these planets come through here and Mercury will come back, this trine keeps going and going and going. So there is something big being built, some emotional opportunity to be had. And especially if you have planets around the 24 degrees of these water signs, then again, whatever opportunity is presented to you, even if it seems unbelievable, unrealistic, you never would have thought you would do something like that, you have to do it. It's a mission. It's a calling. Your success depends on doing the work that's showing up for you right now. So incredible energy as we move through the week. And then as we head into Friday, of course, we see that Sun is starting to move on, still having the yod energy, but it's starting to break apart. We're starting to see that exact square between Chiron and Jupiter. So that intensity, again, has been going on all week. That continues going on. And as I mentioned, Mars and Mercury keep moving forward together because Mercury does slow down as it gets ready for that retrograde as it goes into 6 degrees of Sagittarius, I believe. And so getting to that point, it's slowing down and it's staying closer to Mars for a longer period of time than usual. But it's starting to break away. But as it does, they are adding power to this grand water trine, this big opportunity. And there is information that comes up that you need to act on. Very, very beneficial opportunity coming up at this time. I personally have planets impacted by this, so I am very curious to see the transformation and change. All right, that is our Friday. And as we look forward, the other thing that is creating necessary change and transformation is the sun. Well, I said it's still part of the yod. It's also now squaring to Pluto. Now, we also just saw this recently as Mercury hit this 1 degree of Scorpio and squared with Pluto. Conflicts, words, but also conflict that goes on down in the underworld we don't necessarily see on the surface. We will see it, though, now that the sun is there shining a light on whatever was happening, whatever deals, backdoor deals were being made. Now that the sun comes in here, it's bringing that information. These are conversations about power, sexuality, money, and the conflict is with the people. So this is also when we think about power conflicts in Congress. This sun is a big ego. Pluto in Aquarius is power to the people, which is Congress and the representatives. And so there is a leader who is in a battle with the people, and the people have the power to deal with this person. And there may be a secret exposed about this leader that suddenly makes him change his mind and change direction in what's happening in Congress. Just one possibility. We'll have to see, because of course I'm recording this early. So I don't know exactly how this will happen, but in your own life, don't let your ego lead you down a dark path. Listen to your friends, because they're going to help you change direction if you're headed somewhere that you shouldn't be, somewhere that would cause you a lot of pain and suffering. So listen to your friends as we get to Friday of this week. Let them guide you out of dark places. And that really is the energy that will continue through the weekend, and not any other big changes that we're going to spend too much time delving into, because I would rather spend the time breaking down that yod and that new moon in Libra energy for each sign. So let's go back and do that now. All right, so as usual, I get the breakdown from Aries through Pisces, and just know that this new moon and the house that it happens in have everything to do with relationships that you have in this house, and some very serious work that you need to do as a result of this new moon. So this is very much going to be dependent on what personal planets are being activated in your chart at the time of this new moon. This is another new moon where I don't necessarily recommend you set intentions unless your goal is to completely change and transform the relationships that you are a part of, business, personal, commitments, contracts. And you would just have to know that to do the work, it is going to be intense. So, may not be one that you want to be setting intentions for, unless, again, you're stuck in some situation that you absolutely know you want to be able to break free from. Well, then that Uranus in Gemini, that's where the surprise element is going to be maybe shocking as far as the details or the information that come to the surface at this time. But it can also have you surprising people how you're suddenly willing to speak up for yourself, right? Because Neptune in Aries is a strong, powerful energy, right? Where you're willing to fight for yourself. And Uranus in Gemini can have you speaking up for yourself, and that may make your relationship partner uncomfortable. But that's what you need to do. Say the things you wouldn't normally say. Fight for yourself like you wouldn't normally fight. Pull off those rose-colored glasses. That's what you're looking to do. And if you're Aries, this is happening in your 7th house because, of course, Libra opposes you. So Aries, all those things that I just mentioned, this is a tremendous challenge for you as far as your relationships go. So this new beginning that you have or want to have can only happen if you do those things. Take off the rose-colored glasses, speak up for yourself about what it is that you want. Now, this could also be a time where you start a relationship or a commitment of some kind that is really unusual and unexpected. It's fated. So again, I said this earlier, if you start a relationship at this time, trust that the universe has put this person in your path at this time, right now, for a very specific reason, because you have to learn how to be in a relationship where you are interdependent of one another. If you have a pattern of being in codependent relationships or not paying attention to your partner's needs, that's going to get called out in a very big way with the help of this person that has brought into your life at this time. So, new beginnings are very unusual and unexpected and will require a lot of work, Aries, but you're tough, you're strong, you're up for the challenge. Now, keep me posted. Next, of course, we have Taurus. Taurus, this is a new beginning that happens in the 6th house of the work that you do or the health area sector of your life. This is day-to-day activities. If you're not working, maybe you're volunteering. Even our pets come up here as far as new beginnings go. So we have this opportunity for a new beginning. I got to move this back. So Taurus, we have this opportunity for a new beginning in your 6th house. So this could bring to you a new partner at work. Maybe you work in a law firm, and something about working with this person can be difficult and challenging. But the difficulty, the challenge is that you need to speak up. You need to talk about things that can bring solutions. You need to stand up for yourself. You need to trust your intuition. And you may start sharing like unique solutions to problems at work that your partner doesn't appreciate at first. But as long as you stay committed to speaking your mind, then eventually they will come around to this brilliant idea that you have. So again, new relationships started at work will be odd, unusual, a bit challenging. But remember, when we do the work, we are rewarded. And, it's a mission from God. So it's not like you could turn it down. And whatever you believe in, God is just a universal for your spiritual leader. But this mission for you affects your day-to-day life and how you work with people. So get ready to see things completely change in what you do on a day-to-day basis. And then we have Gemini. So Gemini, this for you happens in your 5th house. So the 5th house is all things that rule the heart. This is romance. So again, you may be starting a new romantic relationship that doesn't make sense, right? Uranus and Gemini is like, this is crazy. This is nonsense. How is this going to ever work? But listen to your intuition, right? Neptune in the sign of Aries is your intuition, is guiding you on what it is that is possible. If you stop worrying about the future and you just focus on the fact that this person crossed your path at the most awkward time, it doesn't make any sense. But that's your mission. Your mission is to listen to your heart, to trust your intuition, and to work through this unusual relationship and trust that in the end, it can be very rewarding, but you're going to have to open your heart and You're going to have to speak up for what you want, and you can't ignore your intuition as you do this new thing. Now, if it's not a relationship, it could be a new hobby, a person that you go into partnership with related to a hobby. This could have something to do with a relationship with one of your children, if you have any. So again, there's some unexpected work ahead, but in the end, this should be a solid relationship, but only if you're willing to show up and do the work. All right. Then we have Cancers. So Cancers, for you, this is happening in your 4th house of home and family. So of course, Cancer rules the 4th house of home and family. So there can be a new partner that is moving into your home as a result of this new beginning. However, maybe this person that moves in is not going to be there all the time. With that Uranus and Gemini energy, this could be somebody who travels for work a lot. And so while you're excited to have this new relationship and you're moving in together, instantly you are facing a lot of fears. There's trust issues. There's communication issues that make it difficult to start something new. So this is the work that you have to do, right? You cannot repeat patterns where you don't trust your partner for no reason. So this is about learning to trust, trusting your intuition, letting go of fear, and setting up some ground rules as far as communication goes, especially if you do have a partner who travels for work and that makes you a bit uncomfortable. Well, that's who they are and what they do. So you can't really be upset with them, but you do just have to make sure that even if communication isn't regular because of the work that your partner does, you still have ground rules for that. We talk every night at 8 p.m. or we text at certain amount of times during the day, and then eventually you learn to just relax and trust your partner. All right. Then we have, of course, Leo. Leo, this is your 3rd house of community, communication. It could even be transportation. But remember, this is relationships. Now, it could be contracts. I wouldn't recommend buying a new vehicle at this time unless you absolutely have to, because it would end up being a lot of work. But if you're looking to create some kind of partnership with somebody in your community, then again, you may meet them in an unusual place where you have a conversation that is not what you would have expected at the time, but it opens your mind to a new role or a new opportunity. Maybe you're going to step into some kind of a leadership role for your community that you never would have imagined you'd want to take on. So the other thing that this can have you doing is creating a partnership with a sibling or an extended family member. But again, just remember, same themes: communication, ideas, inspiration comes through your intuition. So you have to be trusting your intuition on how this partnership should be formed, what work you should be doing, how you set up the roles and responsibilities for each other. Remember, Libra wants everything to be fair and balanced. So whatever sign you're listening for, the rules of Libra are, this is fair and balanced for both of us. Not going to be able to fall into people-pleasing patterns because of that yod energy with Uranus and Neptune. That Uranus and Neptune energy is always going to have you speaking your mind in surprising ways that shocks your partner. So choose wisely. If you're going to start something with family, you have to choose wisely. You have to document everything and trust that what's right for both of you is always going to be the right path going forward. Then we have Virgos. Virgo, this is happening in your second house of the money you make. So if you're going into business with someone at this time, you have to be extremely careful. You have to document everything. And if you're taking a new job at this time, same thing. Make sure that you understand every detail of the job, what your responsibilities are, and you have to make sure that you have enough freedom to speak your mind, to come up with the solutions that work best for you and how you do the work that you do. And you have to have the ability, again, to make decisions that, rely on your intuition, not just the details. But the good thing about Uranus and Gemini and Neptune and Aries is that's intuition and information working together in harmony. And it's ingenious solutions. So you just are going to have hopefully a partner in this new job or this new organization that allows you a lot of freedom, a lot of flexibility, and trusts you when you come up with these new unique ideas that you will deliver on them. So you might end up working with somebody unusual, completely unexpected, and they will challenge you. But as long as you're willing to commit and do the work, this could be a really incredible new working relationship and opportunity. And then, of course, we move to Libras. And Libras, this is so important because this is all about reinventing the relationship that you have with yourself. So through the energy of Uranus in Gemini, you've got to start paying close attention to the dialogue that you have with yourself. This is not something that you can continue to bring yourself down, for instance. Now, since this yod's happening in Libra versus Scorpio, where it would be exact, that energy of Gemini is still in flow with you because it's an air sign. So this is where you can break free from patterns of thinking about yourself, and doing that at this time will be very helpful. And then, of course, that Neptune energy in the sign of Aries that has you rethinking those boundaries that you have in other relationships, because of course Neptune's over in Aries, opposite of you. In order to be this strong, fair, balanced person that you are meant to be, you cannot stay in relationships where you're not valued, you're not appreciated, and your boundaries aren't respected. So this for you is going to help you speak up, speak your mind, so that you get the respect you deserve, and especially in the way you speak to yourself. Make it positive, make it uplifting, make it supportive. You can't just be a people pleaser for everybody else and then leave yourself out, Libra. So you have a chance to really change the relationship that you have with yourself. And it could be other people who influence it in a really unusual, unexpected way, but take the advice. All right. And then we have Scorpios. So Scorpios, this is your 12th house. So where things are hidden and far away, is the subconscious mind. So for you, it's the relationship that you have with your subconscious mind that needs a refresh and needs a restart. It's so easy to get lost and hidden in fear, in negativity, but now it's time to break free from that. And that Uranus energy in Gemini is the ideas, the information that you need to become aware of that'll help you break free of some of these subconscious patterns. And then that Neptune energy is going to help awaken your intuition. So again, you can tell the difference between fear and things that get created versus reality. So this is psychological work, but you're really good at it. It's all about the relationship you have with your subconscious mind and breaking free of patterns that keep you stuck and lost and confused. And once you come out of that, you'll understand how to use the subconscious mind for the power that you can gain from it and use it to manifest what you want to create and quash all the things that you've been creating that you didn't mean to. And then we have Sagittarius. Sagittarius, this happens for you in your 11th house of friends and networking groups. So we're creating new relationships, we're meeting new friends, and we might meet new friends at events that we go to, maybe scientific in nature, medical in nature with that Neptune energy. And you feel instantly a connection, like you've always known this person. And that's exciting and that's fun, but this is a mission from God. And so this person that's coming into your life is going to challenge you in some ways, in the way that you think that you know medicine, for instance. And they're going to offer you a different perspective, which is a challenge because, as Sagittarius, you feel as if you already know it all. And this person that you really like is going to expose you to some new, very different ideas that kind of make you question everything. But you need to be challenged. And so you let this person in and let them challenge you and learn and grow through this new relationship. Then we have Capricorn. Capricorn, it's your 10th house of the work that you do. So you have this new partnership at work. And it is not easy. Libra energy, right? This nice, pleasing, bubbly person and your very serious nature have to figure out how to work with one another. And if you don't want to create kind of crazy conflicts, instead, you need to sit down and talk about your priorities for this partnership. Who's going to be responsible for what? Who's the person with the big ideas? Who's the person that's the creative person? And if you take the creative person and the big ideas person and get them working together, then even though this seems like a very unusual and strange business partnership, you can end up being very successful. You just have to allow each other to be their own unique self, and then you can succeed together. Then we have Aquarius. Aquarius, this happens for you in your 9th house. So this is a relationship that you could begin with somebody from a foreign place, a foreign country. Maybe for the work that you do, you end up with a partner that's overseas and you're not, but you still have to learn how to work together. Well, that's such a challenge, right? Because how you can communicate is based on different time zones. What you do individually could be very different. You have different creative gifts. But if you're willing to be open to learning and growing, because the 9th house is about growth and expansion, then this foreign perspective, whether it's a foreign person or a foreign idea, it's what launches you actually into an even bigger, better opportunity going forward. This is uncomfortable because you don't know anything about this topic. So it could just be a foreign to you topic. And your willingness to explore it and learn how to balance your needs with the other person's needs through the process helps both of you grow in the end. And that can be really, really rewarding. And then finally, we have Pisces. And Pisces, for you, this is the 8th house. So this new relationship in the 8th house is all about redefining intimacy either in the relationship that you're currently in or in a new relationship going forward. So, of course, being intimate with somebody means exposing all your vulnerabilities, which, of course, is very uncomfortable. Again, Pisces loves to be a people pleaser, loves to make sure everybody else is happy, loves for the energy to always just be positive, and there's always light, right? This is a very spiritual sign, and it is so difficult when somebody challenges you. So again, the topic of intimacy is just even difficult to discuss. And with Uranus in the sign of Gemini, it can just be awkward. But let your intuition guide you on how to bring the discussion up. So maybe it's your existing relationship and the intimacy is, there is none. It's become two friends that are married to one another, but there's no intimacy. Well, there's this chance for this new opportunity, this new rebirth in your relationship, but you're going to have to do the hard thing and bring up the uncomfortable topic and express your needs and what you want going forward. If you want things to change, you have to be willing to step up and start the work. And then again, if you're a Pisces and you meet somebody new, you're going to have some challenges in the intimacy department, but it will help you break down some walls, break through some barriers, and end up having a pretty amazing relationship if you're willing to do the work, take the risks, bare your soul, and end up being closer than you maybe would have ever expected. All right, guys. That's a variety of ways that this can show up. But when it's a finger of God, the mission is very personal. For those of you that, of course, have these planets around 26 to 2 degrees of the signs, you'll probably feel this the strongest. And it's however you're being called to do the work in your relationships that is the real story. So all I can do is give you some examples without seeing your actual chart to see where the work is or what planet is impacting that's affecting the work that you need to do. But again, we've had a lot of that this year, and that's because it is a 9-year, and we are concluding things that are done filling a purpose in our life. Anything that we've let go of this year, it's either because their story has ended or our story together has ended, our own story has ended. It's not something we have to take personally. It's just come to an end. That's what the 9-year is for. And it has to come to an end so that these new opportunities can show up for us next year in that 1 year, which I tend to see about 3 months before we're transitioning into the new energy. We start getting a preview, and that's what October is. It's a preview of what's coming for us in 2026. This is just the beginning, but it's also where the energy is ramping up, so that we make sure we end those things in this time period. It's those relationships that no longer serve us, or the way we're in the relationships has to change dramatically for them to continue. It's a big, powerful new moon in the sign of Libra that even for the collective, again, relationships, justice, things have to change. And what causes the shakeups, what causes the changes can really surprise us. So show up, bring your popcorn, watch the show, do your work, and I'll see you next week. All right, take care, everybody.